Welcome to an episode of Barman Saturdays, and this week I decided to take a look at Vivo. Well, I guess I should say also. And if you're wondering about the numbering, because we jumped over so many, I went through four SNL films and came back, so these are ordered in the number they were done in. So yeah, bit odd with the posting, I suppose, but get over. It'll be fine later on, in the playlist, I'm sure. At any rate, we should probably move on to talking about Vivo and less about the odd numbering of these episodes. Um, at any rate, Vivo is a bit of a mixed bag for me. On one hand, it has, solid animation, some good music, and, some good moments. On the other hand, the movie feels a bit like a bunch of skits that are stitched together, and while you can follow along with where the plot's going, it doesn't feel as cohesive, I think, as the people making the film wanted it to be. It just feels like, at times, the pace gets slowed down too much because, we're jumping from one big scene piece to another big scene piece. And it kind of just hurts the flow of the movie more than it should because at the end of the day, we have a pretty simple plot line about, Vivo's master Andre, passing away after getting a letter from his good friend slash, woman he loved, Marta, asking him to come back and perform at her final, show, to get back together again, was just been thinking about him a lot. And while he gets some money from the locals to help him, go, he passes away in the night while sleeping. After telling, his pet monkey Vivo about, his final love song he'd written for her, but, never delivered, never played for her. So Vivo, after, throwing a bit of a fit about how they're going to Miami, is just like, well, it's important to him, and it's like he remembers the power of one song was enough to, get them together, so he's like, we need to play this song for Marta. But, with him dying, he's like, well, I gotta deliver it then, so how am I gonna get to Miami? And decides to hitch a ride with some of his relatives from the States. Which turns into quite the epic journey, I suppose, as he and Gabby, his niece, bond together, over the course of a journey to deliver this song. So, of course, we got, emotional moments for Gabby, we get some Girl Scouts involved, which I swear someone was meant to be mean. Though I admit it's kind of funny when they keep shaming this one guy, just constantly. Though it is a bit over the top at times, I think. But, it was probably meant to be to make it comedic, because otherwise, it just feels like they're being mean little kids.
Mr. Henshaw, you drove here? You live 2 blocks away! Shame on you! Shame.
For the sake of it, ugh, the worst. But yeah, we also have to throw in some villains and some love songs, for other characters, and some of this stuff just feels like it slows down the pace, which is what I think really hurts this film, is that, it feels like it should move faster than it does. At times, just like, it feels like it hits the drag chute just to draw things out to get to feature length, and I kind of get annoyed with it sometimes. It's just like, I might like this song here, but this song adds nothing to our main plot, nor does it really help sometimes develop the relationship between Vivo and Gabby, as they try and, come together, as Vivo tries to teach, Gabby how to actually play and perform music to a certain extent, because while she has spirit, it's not very good. Like, I know she wants to beat to her own drum, but that song is kind of not that good in my opinion. I don't know, there's just something about it that doesn't seem particularly pleasing for me. Like, I know they want to go for that she's, she's an independent, critical thinker of her own, who has her own desires, and that no one gets her, so she wants to just beat to her own drum. But, gosh darn it, is that song, a little bit too loud and noisy for its own good. And it feels like it goes on for a bit longer than it should, too. But yeah, at the end of the movie, we get our big emotional beats as Vivo finally manages to deliver, Andre's final song to Marta, and she performs it at her final show. And of course, Vivo and Gabby, finally become best friends. Or I suppose, as the mom would put it, like their family, because Vivo, was Andre's pet monkey, so he should stay in the family, so he's now an American. But yeah, like Vivo has its strong story moments, but its pacing just really hits the drag shoe at times. Yeah, I admit this is meant to be more of a musical than anything else, so I suppose it makes sense that it has songs that go on for probably a bit longer than they should and feel a bit overly repetitive. But all in all, I'd say it's a good movie. It definitely could be better if they trimmed some stuff a bit back, but you know, I don't have too many complaints. I mean, I know some people absolutely hate it, but I was able to keep mostly interested in the story. I only got paced a couple times as I wait, from the next musical number. Until next time, then. See ya.
Ha! Eat string, snake!